Welcome to the Buganda official Palace. As I told you in the last episode, that Buganda Kingdom or the Ruchiko, the Great Ruchiko, is the heart of Buganda Kingdom.
But every beating heart needs a brain to guide it. Therefore, this is the brain that works hand in hand with the heart to make every operation in this kingdom move smoothly. Let's start our journey to the palace by stepping into the historic walk of the mile, officially known as Kabaka Anjagala Road. This straight majestic road directly connects the King's Palace, Lubiri, to the Bulange Parliament building, and every step on this mile is packed with deep cultural history. As you walk down the mile, look closely at the sides of the road. You will see beautiful detailed sculptures. These represent the different clans of Buganda Kingdom. Each clan has a specific totem, usually an animal or a plant, and a unique role to play in serving the king. These artworks ensure that Uganda's rich heritage is never forgotten. Shading this path are these historic canonati trees, known locally as Kabaka Anjagala, which means the king loves me. Traditionally, the nuts from these trees were used for lighting candles and even making local soap. Today, they stand as a living symbol of the king's love and protection over his people. Finally, we approach this unique towering structure, marking the exact center of this road. This is the Rukoma Nantawetwa roundabout. The word Nantawetwa literally means the one who cannot be bent or coiled, a direct title given to the king of Uganda. As you can see, it splits right down the middle. In Uganda tradition, the Kabaka is supreme and never goes around the roundabout. The central gate is opened only when the king is traveling between his palace and the parliament, and for everyone else, it remains a normal roundabout, showing that the king's path is straight and unmatched. History tells that the entire concept of this royal mile actually has a fascinating origin. It was inspired by King Edward Mutesa II during his time in Scotland. He admired Edinburgh's famous royal mile that connects the castle to the palace. Therefore, he decided to bring that majestic layout right here to link his own palace and the parliament. This roundabout didn't look like this back then. If you visited Kampala years ago, this was just a simple green plot of land. The modern monument we see today was put up under Jennifer Musisi during her time leading the Kampala Capital City Authority. Working hand in hand with the kingdom, KCCA built this 11-meter monument as a 60th birthday gift for the king. It features a traditional long drum in Ngalabi, holding up a massive Uganda shield and two spears, which are the ultimate symbols of the kingdom's protection. Crossing over this junction with my guide, you instantly feel the real energy of Kampala. Life is moving all around us, borders squeezing side by side, people moving along the walkways, and cars navigating the chaos. When you walk further around this place, you realize just how organized the kingdom is. This sign marks the office premises of the Buganda Heritage and Tourism Board. They are the ones responsible for protecting the kingdom's history, managing these sites, and making sure the kingdom's stories are passed on down correctly to the next generation. Right next to it, you find this vibrant crafts market. It's a colorful explosion of traditional wear and handmade souvenirs. Stopping by to get an authentic piece of Uganda culture, you directly support the local artisan. Just ahead stands the Butikiro. This is the traditional residence and seat of power for the Katikiro of Buganda. Seeing it from the outside gives you a real sense of deep cultural leadership that keeps the kingdom running smoothly every single day. We leave the offices behind and keep moving up the path towards the main gate. All around you can see people hanging out and enjoying the peaceful energy of these gardens. When you turn around and stand right here at the palace gates, the view is absolutely mind-blowing. The Royal Mile stretches out perfectly before you. As you zoom in, a clear direct line of sight connects you straight to the Bulange Parliament building at the opposite end. A real testament to the genius behind this layout. My guide and I finally reached the entrance. The massive main gates are always kept closed, so we are heading inside through this smaller side gate. At the gate, these powerful stone lines protect the entrance, honoring the king's mighty power. Before stepping onto the royal grounds, I had to sign the visitor's book, a quiet moment of respect as I enter a space filled with history.
Welcome to the Buganda official palace.
And there it is, the mighty Twekobe Palace building. Right in front of it, you will notice another small roundabout. Just like the big one on the Royal Mile, this one is also strictly reserved for the king. No one else is allowed to drive straight through it when heading to the main palace door. Looking up, you see 3 flags flying tall. The flag on the right represents the nation of Uganda, showing how the kingdom exists within the wider country. The one in the middle is for the Buganda Kingdom, featuring the traditional shield and spears.
So a shield represents Buganda's mighty protection. We have the 3rd flag. That's the flag for the king. Literally, whenever you see it up, it means the king is in a place. That's why it's always there on any occasion where the king is in. Oh, I see. So we have these reeds, or the reed face. That was the ancient architecture of the king's face. Last time we have been at Kabaka Palace, but I guess we were able to observe the reeds.
Yeah.
They were trimmed to a similar level. But you can see these ones are all different.
Yeah, they are not
sizes.
trimmed. Yeah.
They are not trimmed, meaning that the king in this place is still alive.
Oh.
Ever notice the lion statues at Mengo Palace? Because they are standing on guard, it signifies one powerful truth. The king is alive, active and ruling. Unlike
the ones assuming the gate, at the gate, they are lying down.
Okay.
We have the mighty building, Twekobe. It's an impression of the old Buckingham Palace. A smaller version in England. A smaller version of the Buckingham. And that was the first modern palace in Uganda. It has been used by the last 2 kings of Uganda and the current king. So it has been used by 3 kings in total. That is King Nantawetwa II, who introduced the mighty architecture, the modern one. So it was constructed by King Nantawetwa from 1922 up to 1933. It has been used by King Edward Mutesa II, the first president of Uganda, and the current king, Kabaka Anjagala Road II. This is the house.
The first step at the palace main entrance marks the start of the 1 mile.
Oh, okay.
Straight, a 1 mile straight.
So that makes the Royal Mile.
That makes the Royal Mile, or the Kabaka Anjagala Road.
Oh.
Therefore, this is a mile fit for a king, shaded by royal trees, and where every step walks with history.
So we have
This cannon, placed right here within the palace grounds, just a few meters from the main gate entrance. My guide expeditor explains that this military machine is actually a piece from a very dark chapter in Uganda's history. It's a Russian-made weapon that was brought to Uganda in the late 1970s. The Libyan leader by then, Muammar Gaddafi, gifted it to Amin to support his war efforts against Tanzania. But its presence here tells a much deeper local story about what happened to this sacred kingdom. After the political crisis and the violent 1966 attack on the Mengo Palace, the king's official home was completely taken over. The beautiful Twekobe Palace building was robbed of all its royal respect. The entire compound was ruined and turned into heavily armed high-security military barracks. For over 10 years, soldiers lived right here on these palace grounds, and the compound was packed with dangerous weapons like this one. When Idi Amin's government eventually fell and the army moved out, almost all the weapons were taken away, leaving this cannon behind, because it was broken and couldn't shoot anymore. Steps away from the cannon sit the remains of King Mutesa's private car collection.
So King Mutesa too had a number of fancy luxury cars.
Before the 1966 Mengo crisis, the Kabaka had an incredible taste in luxury vehicles. But when Milton Obote ordered the military assault on the palace, troops destroyed everything in sight.
So after the invasion of the palace, most of these cars were burnt down and the remaining parts were buried into the ground.
This was to ensure that the kingdom was forgotten by Buganda. Obote wanted to destroy everything that could remind them of their king or their history. When you look closely, at the top sits a 1962 British Daimler. Directly underneath, it's fused into a late 50s American Cadillac. And back deep at the bottom are the heavy wheel parts of a vintage Rolls Royce. It's hard to believe that this rusted bent metal was once part of the beautiful royal palace. These broken pieces are all that remain from the day Buganda's history changed completely. When the kingdom was restored, efforts were done to collect and gather all these wreckages as a reminder to the people of Uganda, visitors and tourists, of the dark days that happened here in the palace grounds back then. Before Bulange or the Parliament building was constructed, These historic houses served as offices for ministers and the chiefs. But when the palace later became a military barracks, soldiers moved in. Today, these same buildings house palace workers and the guards who protect the king. My guide and I started descending down into the underground concrete chambers, a heavy, silent place that holds some of the darkest history of these grounds. In the early 1970s, Israeli engineers constructed this underground bunker to be a highly secure, bomb-proof ammunition storehouse for the military. But when the government relationship shifted, the space was completely changed into a living hell. Expeditor points out this tiny hidden gate. This exact spot is where King Mutesa II escaped Obote's forces in 1966, fleeing into exile in Britain. Walking this path, you feel the pain after realizing that thousands before us took these exact steps and never made it out. They were government opponents, lawyers, intellectuals, and so many others who lost their lives in these exact chambers we are about to enter.
The entrance you see, those were the torture chambers where Idi Amin Dada and Obote killed 1,000 of Ugandans that were opposed
their governance. So come with me as we step inside to uncover the dark history of these torture chambers. Just imagine walking into a place knowing you will never come back. Today, only the echoes of the past remain in these chambers. Stepping inside, the air instantly turns cold. This dark underground tunnel holds 5 separate cells. Here, Idi Amin's agents packed hundreds of prisoners into a single room. To stop any chances of escape, guards flooded the corridor with water hooked up to high voltage electric currents. If the starvation and beatings didn't kill you, the electricity in water did. You can even feel how suffocating these chambers are. Looking into these empty cells, you can literally feel the presence of the thousands who never made it out. Walking back through the corridor, I couldn't stop thinking about the massive scale of human suffering that happened beneath these royal grounds. It's a dark stain on such a beautiful historic site. On the tunnel walls, you can still see old scratch marks and fading messages left by prisoners who knew they were facing their final moments. It's a deeply hurting view that stays with you forever. As you step back outside the tunnel, my observation is that this place has survived the highest peaks and the lowest depths of national tragedy. But through it all, Buganda still stands firm. Though the walls inside hold silent tears of the past, but the air outside here carries the triumph of the present. Uganda's spirit remains unbroken, its culture unshaken, a living testament to the people whose history cannot be erased and whose drum beats will echo for generations to come. Thanks for watching the final part of our Uganda exploration. Missed episode 1 or 2? check the channel to catch up. And if you liked this video, hit subscribe, leave a comment, and tap that notification bell so you never miss any of my upcoming adventures.